What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Rumpier Sports, bringing you once again Swing for the Fences. I'm here with my two main guys. You know, the last time I was with these two, I think it was a Sunday morning when I was filling in for maybe it was Holden or I forget who's on that show. But we got G Rising, we got JT Hayes. JT Hayes, let me start with you. How's it going, man? You know, we got a wild trade deadline day, lots of news. How's your day going?
Man, it's going good. It's been a fun day. Obviously, lots of movement in Major League Baseball. We saw it start really a couple of weeks ago, but oh my goodness, over the last couple of hours, some really interesting trades that were made. A couple of teams that gave away half their Major League roster, the Cubs and the Nationals, and then a couple of teams that made some really curious moves, and we'll get into all that, but obviously, the Cardinals think that they've got a good shot now at the 2008 World Series with Jay Happ and John Lester. So should be pretty interesting there in St. Louis.
G Rising, what's going on, man? How's your day going?
It's a good Friday. Can't complain. I got some beers going. I've been it's a nice day here in Detroit. Been looking at this baseball slate. Getting ready to take down some cash.
T-Rising, you should have given me a heads up. I got a damn like freaking Waterloo type of thing.
You should know if you're on the show with me, I'm gonna have probably a beer in front of me.
I know. I mean, I guess it's free here where I'm at, so I would probably get some funny looks from the wife if I was cracking them open now. But I will be joining you later. It's not going to take long at all. All right, everyone, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free for each and every, all of you, each and every weekday. Again, another thing that we're doing right now for DraftKings and FanDuel, go to Discord, go to RPS logo under the Media Alerts tab. That's where you can download our logo, use it as your avatar on either one of those sites. Send us a screenshot for proof. Info at RPS or rumpiersports.com is our email. Send it to Twitter, and we are going to randomly choose people to send swag to. So do that. We're going to get you some swag if you do it. And honestly, it might boost your stock in when we pick when we do our next backing of contests and everything, and putting you guys in a tournament. So it definitely can't hurt. That's all I'm saying. All right, boys, let's one last thing before I move on, or Simon is going to be very upset with me. We do have a promo going on. It's the same one that we always have going on. RPS Heater 25. It's going to get you 25% off your first payment over here at Rumpier Sports. And we got so much stuff coming on, guys. We got NFL is right around the corner. JSU was hitting me up the other day like, hey, we got preseason coming up. The preseason slates are going to be loaded. We haven't had preseason in a while. I'm like, preseason? I forgot that those contests are awesome. So, I mean, that is only weeks away. So we're going to have content for all of that. So make sure use the code, get signed up, and come Rumpier with us. So JT Hayes, your vote, and I think you guys have been doing it this way. We're going to talk about pitching first, then we're going to go game by game, right?
That works pretty well. Yeah, it works out for us on Sundays. I think a day like today too, right? A 15-game slate. We're not necessarily going to be looking to pick our favorite player at each position, right? We want to get at least some mini stacks. And look, on DraftKings, we got another one of those huge tournaments, the $8 buy-in. And we've seen, just like our guy Rahul on Wednesday night, right? I think he ran a 3.32, got unique at pitcher. And that's what we've been seeing in these smaller dollar tournaments on these big slates is you want to take advantage of the spots where you've got teams and players in particular in upside, but you also want to get a little correlation. And we haven't really seen any of those 5-3s win on these type of slates. So I think it'll be helpful to talk about the teams that are in the best spots. Obviously, a lot of movement. Got a couple of lineups that are completely different. We've got some new pitching that changes, I know, my interest in a couple of teams. So definitely, I think that's a good way to go for our members tonight.
Yeah, you make a really good point about getting unique at pitching. That's something that I picked up on. And, just 2 nights ago, I rostered, Cy Young, Brad Keller, Kansas City Royals, just a beast of an arm. I thought I'd get a laugh out of G Rise. There we go. There's the little smirk. But, honestly, he was 3% owned. And did he knock it out of the park? No. Did the Royals, pull him a little too early on his birthday? Yeah. I think he was at 90 pitches. He had, an eighth inning left. But he did enough to get the job done for me. I was robbed from the win bonus, which would have put me over the top. So cost me about $80K, but that's going to happen. But I love the point about getting unique at pitching. I think now is the time of the season where when you do that, it's very easy to get unique with the rest of your builds. G Rise, I'm going to kick it over to you. Let's start with pitching on this slate. Talk to me kind of about where you're at. I mean, it's a 15-game slate. There's going to be tons of options. I think we could easily narrow it down though. So talk to me about kind of high end and then, low end pitching.
Yeah. Up at the top today. I mean, 15 games, there's a lot of pitching options today, but for me up at the top, it's either Lance Lynn or Corbin Burns for me up at the top, two top guys. I think both have decent matchups. I think Lynn might have a little longer leash than Corbin Burns. It looks like he's been, both of them been up around the 9,500 pitch mark the last few games, but Burns, it just seems like, it's just not the most ideal matchup, but I think Lynn has a better opportunity here against the Indians, who just seem like they have a watered down lineup. So I'm going to start with Lynn up at the top. You mentioned a couple lower guys that down low. I do like some Patrick Sandoval. He had a good game last game. I like some Jamison Talion as well, and then maybe some Scooble. So there's a lot of different options. I think tonight on FanDuel, they got that $7 queue. So I'm going to probably play 40 teams or so. So yeah, I'm going to probably mix in most of those guys. I think there's a lot of guys to mix in tonight. So I'm going to have a pretty wide range of pitchers. But if I was playing 2 or 3 teams, I think it'd be pretty much Lance Lynn, Corbin Burns, and then maybe Italian. But I'd have to dig into him a little bit more. It's still a little bit early, but that's what I'm leaning.
Yeah, I got you. Now, is that more, FanDuel based, for you, that pitching pool that you just talked about?
Yeah, I pretty much play most of my action on FanDuel, as most of you guys know. But
see, and I'm DraftKings, so that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah. But I think you got to, on DK, as we've said before, you play 2 high-priced pitchers, 2 guys that higher up the poll seem to be the way to victory. It seems like, as Big T's talked about a few times. So, I haven't played with building any kind of teams, but I'd probably have one of Lynn or Burns in there if I could squeeze in, maybe even a Gossman if you could. It's just kind of tough to go against Houston. But I don't mind picking against the Marlins with Talion, like I said, and then Sandoval. He just came off a big 13K, almost complete game. But I really like Sandoval too. But there's a few other guys that worry me. That we talked a little bit about Zach Gallion, maybe some Zach Thompson. You could look at Gonzalon, maybe Gilbert. I think all those guys are in play, but I'm just going to try to narrow it down to maybe 6 or 7 guys, maybe on my 40 teams. And then, but I'm primarily going to play the top guys with Lynn and Burns.
I got you. Before I kick it over to JT Hayes, we got our boy Rahul in the chat. He said, JT AP, please pick a person to get the $121 ticket to the contest tonight. So Rahul, again, shout out to you. Congratulations. He took down 100K 2 nights ago, I believe. Massive win. And that's awesome. We will pick the winner at the end of the show. JT Hayes, I'll allow you to do that. JT, talk to me about pitching. I was, first off, I was really excited to do the show for Hoop today, because I know me and you are the 2 in here that kind of like to get different at pitching. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's kind of how I am too. So talk to me about where you're at tonight.
Yeah, I think there's really no question when you think about from a lineup perspective that sure, Lance Lynn is probably in the best spot on the slate, right? He's 10-3 on DraftKings. And he's going to be very popular. And I don't mind playing one popular pitcher, right? And the last night, good example on a 5-game slate. There weren't a lot of pitchers to use, so you kind of had to suck it up and eat at least one of those expensive pitchers. And if you did, it worked out pretty well. Tonight, I think Lynn is fine. And the only concern I have with Lynn is now that the White Sox have, their bullpen back intact, they got another huge piece, not going to be there tonight, of course, in Craig Kimbrell. But, I don't expect the White Sox to have much trouble with JC Mejia or the Cleveland Indians bullpen and putting up runs tonight. So is this a situation where Tony La Russa says, hey, it's, July 30th. If I can rest Lance Lynn the last 3 innings of the game, I think he's going to take an opportunity to do that. Whereas I look at some of these other guys, and G. Riser mentioned, you've got Burns against the Braves here in Atlanta. It's 90 degrees here in Atlanta. I was playing baseball last night. I almost died. It's really hot out. It's going to be hot on the mound, especially for a big guy like Burns. You've got Gausman, who has been hit and miss, especially since the substance crackdown against the Astros. I actually think some of the Astros as one-offs are pretty sneaky here tonight, so I don't have interest in Gausman. But one guy at the top tier that I think is my favorite as of right now that nobody's talking about is Chris Bassett in Anaheim against the Angels. The Angels put Jared Walsh on the IL earlier this week. They're already down Trout. They're down Rendon. The bottom back of that lineup is not very good at all. They picked up Adam Eaton off the scrap heap. You've got Phil Gonzalez batting third for this team. And the last time that Chris Bassett faced the Angels, he threw a complete game shutout with 9 strikeouts. Now, we can't expect the same result, but we saw Frankie Montas dominate this Angels lineup last night, and I expect that we're going to see Chris Bassett do much of the same to them today. So that's kind of where I see things at the top end of pitching on DraftKings.
I'm with you there. Bassett, very interesting call. Easily to overlook. That's the one thing about pitching. Now, I usually I'll go through it once and then I'll go through it again. And it's like your third time you go through the option is when you kind of see, different guys pop out. Bassett is a guy I definitely overlooked. I mean, the underlying metrics aren't bad. He does give up some hard hits, but I'm with you. You just have to get past Shohei Ohtani. And if you do, there's a lot of upside in this lineup if you're a pitcher and if you can throw some strikes. I like that call quite a bit. Did either of you talk about Logan Gilbert? Is that a guy that you guys are on?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in Gilbert as an SP2. In fact, before Lester was traded, I was joking with some people about, now that the Cubs got rid of everyone, maybe it's a night where we consider Lester. But the reality is at that same price point for just 200 more, I just couldn't see anybody in that price range outscoring Logan Gilbert tonight. Had a bit of a back down to earth performance, last time out. But in that park against that lineup's been one of the worst in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. I think Logan Gilbert makes a really smart play. G. Risen mentioned Zach Thompson. I think people are going to be off this kid tonight in the fact that the Yankees have brought in Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo. Not sure if one or both of those guys are going to be in the lineup tonight. I expect it's more likely that Gallo will be, but Rizzo could be as well. But look, this is a team that's been striking out at close to a 30% clip against right-handed pitching over the course of the last couple of weeks. I mean, the last couple of days, you saw Michael Wacha and Luis Patino mow through this Yankees lineup like a hot knife through butter. So I think in multi-entry, Zach Thompson is still a guy that you can use. And then a guy that I haven't particularly been on, maybe it's because of bias of what I remember when he first came up in the league, but one of our Discord coordinators, a guy who's sharp, especially when it comes to the Braves and their farm system, Gary USCG 14. He's been talking about Touki Toussaint all day. He's still just 6'9". I don't know if I get there myself, just because this Brewers team has been absolutely red hot. And like I said, the weather here is just it's just exhausting. It's very humid, and I think it's going to be a shorter night for some of these pitchers here in Atlanta. But at 6,900, if he can get you to 15 to 20 points, maybe generate some strikeouts against the Brewers team that does that quite often, then he's in play for multi-entry. Maybe I'll mix him in 5 or 10 lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I stacked up the Brewers last night, and man, they've been hot. They had a slow start last night, but Oh, they finished very hot, and it was unfortunate that it was a small slate because everyone was on them, and then we had Joe Musgrove, absolutely mowed down in the late game. I did not have him. He was in my pool, but I ended up moving off of him. But I had a nice build. If I would have left a bunch of salary on the table with him, it would have been very tasty. But I did not. The Tukey call, I think, is very interesting. One thing JTAs that I was looking at doing was playing both of the pitchers in the Mariner and Rangers game, Logan Gilbert and Colby Allard, and but maybe I mix in Tukey. I mean, do you have an opinion on Colby at all against this Mariners team that I don't know? I mean, I've been attacking them for quite some time now.
Yeah, Colby's cheap. That's about the best I could say about him. He is in that park that we do like pitching in that park. I will say about this Seattle team, 3-4 games out of the wild card. One of the more curious moves was the Angels trading Andrew Heaney because basically everyone in the West except for the Rangers is alive. It looks like the Angels sort of said it's not going to be our year here. But back to the Mariners, last couple of weeks against left-handed pitching, there's good and there's bad. There's a 30% strikeout rate. That's excellent. There's also a 103 WRC plus and an ISO of 193 against left-handed pitching. Now, that's going to be somewhat mitigated by the fact that park is so big and they have a humidor there. So Allard at 5-1, if you were looking to stack up, say, try and get to a mix of the Jays and the Phillies or the Jays and the White Sox, I think it could make sense. Definitely a riskier play. And then one other guy that I didn't talk about, I talked about earlier today, it gets a great matchup against an Arizona team that's headed nowhere, who has been a little bit more reliable lately in terms of innings, mostly due to the situation with the Dodgers starters, is Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez just 7-9. He's got a strikeout rate of about 27-28% this season, taking on an Arizona team that does not have a lot of pop in a stadium similar to the stadium in Texas where the roof is going to be closed there. So he'll be in my player pool as well.
All right. G. Riser, I'm going to kick it back over to you. Let's, since we got 15 games to break down, let's give me your top 2 pitchers tonight. And then I'll go to JTAs and then we'll move on to the games.
My top 2 pitchers are going to be Lance Lynn and Jamison Taillon. I'm going to I'm going to have my teams where I can have some bats with Taillon paying down, and then I'm going to pay up at pitcher with Lance Lynn. And then, like I said, I'm going to throw in some other guys that I believe are pivots, but those are going to be my 2 of my mainstays for sure.
Yeah, I like that. JT Hayes, your top 2 tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Bassett and Gilbert for me. I think definitely in my higher dollar entries, that's going to be my pairing on DraftKings. I didn't touch on Jamison Taillon. G-Rise makes a good point. He's kind of corrected some of his hard hit, hard fly ball, home run issues from earlier in the year, and he does get a Marlins team that is now going to be without not only Starling Marte, but Adam Duvall. So it's definitely not a terrible matchup for Jamison Taillon.
Yeah, I like that. Gilbert, I think we got to think that maybe he's going to be kind of, chalky tonight, but I want to spin down at pitching. I look at projections, and the projections on the top tier end on DraftKings specifically did not blow me away. So that means, in my opinion, that pitching is going to be kind of all over the board. So I'm going to lean on matchups. I'm going to lean on kind of, my gut, what I'm thinking. I want to spin down. I want to get some big bats in there. Logan Gilbert's going to help me do that. I'm going to look at Tukey. I'm going to look at Colby. I'm not necessarily sure where I'm going to land. So I'm going to just stick with Gilbert right now. If I could get the salary, I think I would like to get up to Burns. But I might look at Tukey, and I might look at pairing him with Gilbert too, to see what kind of salary that gets me. Before we dive into the games, we are partnered now with Underdog. So if you play best ball, we got NFL coming up. Make sure to get over to Underdog. We're going to have a bunch of different promos and specials coming up around it. Use the promo code RUNPURE, and you can get up to $25 if you just deposit. So you put the minimum deposit in, and they'll give you a free $25. All right, let's go game by game. Let's start with the Cubs. They dumped off their roster. They're playing the Nats today. G. Rison, what are you doing with the Bats in this game?
Yeah, I like the Nats side of the Bats here. Against Williams. I think the lefties here, Juan Soto's interesting. I think he might actually be one of the top bats on the slate. I like a little mini stack here with Soto and Bell in that 2-3 hole. All the lefties for me with the Nats. My only fear is what's that attitude? What's that mood like in that locker room after losing just two huge pieces like that? Like I mentioned earlier to you guys, if we were in a fantasy baseball league, I would have pretty much assumed that every one of us would have hit the reject button on that trade. But that's got to be gut wrenching for everybody in that locker room. But they're professionals, so they're going to keep on moving. But Soto and Bell are definitely interesting for me. I definitely got some interest too on the Cubs side as well against Lester. Lester's just the guy we've been attacking. Any of the righties for me, the Chris Bryants, the Contrerases, even Matt Duffy, I'd look at. So
is it Lester, or I'm showing Paulo Espino? You guys know if they changed it?
It's definitely not Lester.
Yeah, you're right. Lester you're right. I was looking at a different site.
Because I was looking, I love those spots. I'd love to attack him with a pitcher. Then I saw initially it was John Lester, and I'm like, I don't care who he's going against. I'm not going to play him. I mean, can we play this guy? Paulo? I mean, the numbers don't look good, but if he gets you 18,
if it's going to be a bullpen game at this point, I'm assuming they haven't. Baseball Reference doesn't even have a starter up there yet.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean, the Cubs bullpen isn't the great. I mean, everybody's kind of dumping, some bullpen pieces. That's another thing, here when we get off. I just want to review some teams here that have been dumping some bullpen pieces because that definitely is going to come and play. Like it's just. Today was so crazy with the trade deadline. It's like every time I looked over at the TV, it seemed like something like today is probably one of the craziest trade deadline days and definitely exciting for a baseball fan. There was a lot of sports going on. I got caught up watching them women's soccer in that shootout earlier today. They kind of got lucky to pull that one out. That she made a save. She's the goalie for US saved the penalty shot with like 10 minutes left, which was huge. But
you love to see it.
Yeah, so it was pretty busy day. But just going back to that Nats and Cubs. I mean, I think there's a lot of bats here you can pick out. I mean, as we go through these games here today, there's a lot of spots that are really good. But I'm definitely big fans of the lefties for the Nationals.
Yeah. Okay. JT Hayes, what are you doing with the Cubs Nationals game?
Yeah, I mean, on a 15-game slate, I think that maybe this is just going to be a pass for me, except for some of the cheaper guys that are punts. In regards to Espino, I'm not sure because I still don't see it yet what his price is on DraftKings. I mean,
$7K, I believe.
In MME, I guess you could mix him in. I mean, this is going to be a pretty bad lineup when it comes out. So, but I don't. There's so much uncertainty with how long these guys are going to go. I mean, I'm not even sure. They're listing a guy named Zach Gallen as a pitcher for the Cubs. I think that's got to be wrong. So we'll have to wait a few minutes here and find out.
I show Keegan Thompson is who I have. So it looks like a bullpen game.
Yeah, and they traded away any of the bullpen arms that are decent. So, yeah, I wouldn't go 5-man on the Nats, but I can see using a 2 or 3 mix on this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Juan's, no issues ever with Soto, Bell, those guys. It's not a stacking spot for me. If I land on one of them, I'm going to put them in there. But otherwise, most likely, probably a pass. Let's go to let's see, Phillies and Pirates. JT Hayes, I'll keep it with you. What are you doing here?
I like the Phillies a lot here against Will Crow. Crow, career game last time out in San Francisco. Helped out a little bit by the lineup there that was a little watered down for the Giants and by the stadium and some of the weather there. but I like the Phillies here quite a bit. Talked a little bit earlier about the fact that the Pirates bullpen, I mean, the run differential in that series against Milwaukee was 28-3. 3-game series, Pirates gave up 28 runs. I think that the Phillies are going to get right here. You got Brad Miller in the lineup for Rhys Hoskins. Not going to bother me at all. Wouldn't mind playing some Brad Miller here. Real Muto, Harper priced up, but I think he's one of the better plays on the slate. And then McCutcheon's been on fire as well. And I'm not worried about if I needed to, say, make a lineup where I was trying to get a pairing with Bassett or Bassett and Lynch or Bassett and one of these other higher priced guys, and go all the way down to Ronald Torreyes at 3.0. The guy's actually been hitting the ball pretty well. So I like the Phillies a lot here. I probably won't play Vince Velasquez, but I'm certainly not very interested in this Pirates lineup right now. Pirates looks like they just traded a couple of other pieces away. So not interested in the Pirates side, but definitely will be heavily invested in the Phillies today.
Yeah, I like that. G Risen, any different take in this game? Are you, are you on the Phillies as well?
Big of the slate we have today, I can't see I'm not going to play any Phillies. I just don't like the park. So there's some other spots here. It's only 70, mid 70s there in Pittsburgh.
G Risen, can I tell you one thing real quick? Not to interrupt you, my man, but I got one thing to tell you. So I watched this Brewers series against the Pirates. 9-0, 7-3, 12-0. They absolutely smoked the ball against this Pirates team. I don't know. I'm with JTAs on this one. I think the Phillies smash here. I think the pitching for the Pirates has just been an absolute disaster.
I see your guys' logic. I'm not arguing with you. I just kind of play to certain kind of parameters as the season goes along. And generally I don't like to go outside them, because whenever I do and I go against what my basic thought processes are, and there's just certain parks, especially on a big slate, that it just generally I just don't attack those spots. Yeah. And this is one of them here with in Pittsburgh. As JT has brought up a few times, this season with the certain parks, they expanded the parks now this year with the humidor. And, I bet definitely paying attention to that. So there's a few parks that I generally think have, just higher home run upside. And there's a few of them on the slate today. So that's where pretty much I'm going to be concentrating.
Yeah, no, I get that. You are sticking to your process, which I always respect. And if you're a DFS player, that's what you should do. We all have different processes. We all come across different plays. If you start to question your process, or you jump around and change things all the time, you're not going to be successful. Like, the thing is if you have a successful process, stick to it. Eventually, everything's going to align. You're going to get the hit, and you're going to make some money. So I'm all good with you there. But I do agree with JTAs here. I love the Phillies. I've been picking on this Pirates team, so I'm going to continue to do that. I got my little notes pad right here that I do. It's super basic with my green and blue highlights. Green just means their WOBA and ISO is what I would consider elite over the last 30 days against that pitch type. We got Bryce Harper, Brad Miller, and McCutcheon, who all qualify as a green tag for me. You could throw Didi in there as an option. And Bohm as well. So a bunch of guys that I like there too. So I'll probably be with you on the Phillies, JTAs. Let's get down to let's go Orioles and Tigers. G Risen, I'm going to keep it with you. What are you doing with this game?
Oh, we love to pick on Matt Harvey, don't we? So I'm looking at the lefty. I mean, Kill Badu, I think, is one of the top bats on the slate leading off for the Tigers. He's 3,600 on FanDuel. I really like Badu here. I like Robbie Grossman and Candelario as well. Miguel Cabrera obviously hit 2 homers yesterday. I think the Tigers lineup here is in a pretty good spot. They got a projected run total of just below 5. But it's always fun to pick on Matt Harvey, and then obviously you get that terrible Orioles bullpen there. As far as the Orioles bats, I can't really say I'm going to be looking to attack Tarek Skubal. I just think Scooble's been he's just been pitching pretty well recently. I mean, he does give up a few runs here and there, but I just don't think he's going to get blown up. But I definitely like the lefties here on the Tigers with Akil Baddoo. I mean, he's even a one-off potential if you wanted to look at that. But yeah, I think Baddoo is definitely a strong play today.
Yeah, I mean, so I got a little bias on Scooble because I just watched Jorge Soler launch 2 bombs off him, followed by a Salvi Perez bomb. They took him for 3 total home runs. Not really, they didn't really light him up, but the fly balls were there for sure. JT Hayes, what are you doing with this spot? Orioles against the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers, look, I think earlier in this week we were talking about them, right? They got a chance, especially with Cleveland apparently selling off at least some of their pieces. They got a chance to make a push for the playoffs. 268 isolated power against right-handed pitching over the last 2.5 weeks. It's not my top spot here on the slate, but I think that, like JSURab mentioned, Akil Baddoo and Robbie Grossman are 2 guys that stick out to me that I like as options here, maybe as one-offs against Matt Harvey. Now, Matt Harvey, the other thing, his price point here is the lowest it's been at $5K, and he's coming off of 2 really, really good games. I don't think we'll see it keep up, but it's been interesting that he's been at least serviceable here in the last couple of starts, and not against terrible competition either. So not really interested in going full bore on the Tigers here, but I do want some pieces.
AP, real quick, I was looking at just kind of glanced over at some team stats, and the Tigers are actually in the top of the team stats against right-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, here we're looking at Matt Harvey. A lot of people are, always, we're always after Matt Harvey. So I don't mind the Tigers at all here. I think more I look at it here, I think the Tigers stack might be pretty sneaky on this slate, even though yesterday they had the highest team total. And I believe they were on the winning team last night too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't mind going right back to them here, but Tigers are interesting.
I get the attacking Matt Harvey, but the guy hasn't really given it up lately. I mean, he hasn't given up a home run in like 5 games. He hasn't been that big of a disaster. I do like Baddoo just because he can do so much. And then, you can get, a ton of power with a guy like Haas, who, he hurt my feelings. Your boy Haas really hurt my feelings the other night. Grand slam, top of the 9th to just, put me into tears, G-Risen, but it is what it is. So I have no problems with the Tigers here. I do think the interesting side is the Orioles as well. I do think Screwball is going to give up a couple home runs. I'm looking at Trey Mancini. The problem is, we got a guy who's $100 cheaper on DraftKings in Joey Votto, who just is on an absolutely another level right now. So even if Mancini was in like a perfect matchup, I don't think I could justify playing him at the same price tag over a guy that's just, on that big of a heater. Yeah, I'm on this game. I think I have it as one that you could potentially stack both ways. I'm undecided, and I actually like the Philly side a little bit more. So that's kind of where I'm at. You guys have any final thoughts on this game?
No.
All right. Let's go to the Royals and Blue Jays. JT Hayes, kick it over to you.
Yeah, I think that Toronto playing their first game at home in the Rogers Center in, I think it's almost 20 months. Draft Sheet was saying today, it's definitely been a couple of seasons since they've been there. They're going to open the roof in celebration, but I think it's going to be a little cooler up there. I got to double check the temperature here. But this is a great spot for them. Daniel Lynch was a pitcher that I liked in the matchup at a price point last Sunday. He had a great matchup. These rookies generally, a great game. These rookies generally, when they have a great game, the next game, they get pounded into oblivion. That's what I expect the Blue Jays to do here today. Up and down this lineup, even a guy like Santiago Espinal is a guy that I would play to make this stack work. George Springer is healthy. He's gotten hot. Vlad Guerrero hits almost a home run every single night. So, and Teoscar Hernandez in particular against left-handed pitching. So you got Lourdes Gurriel, who's back in that lineup now, just up and down the order. So much power here. They scored 14 games last night. It usually makes me a little cautious on a team the next night, but I think returning home back in Toronto for the first time against Daniel Lynch and a Kansas City bullpen that is really not very good. I'm very interested in the Blue Jays here in this spot.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm now seeing that Jorge Soler is going to Atlanta. Is that right?
Yep.
I guess that dropped 48 minutes ago. So I think I was, hopping on the show at that time. So, wow. Big hit for the Royals, obviously, especially with Soler absolutely on fire right now. I'm with you. So, like, JT Hayes, I stacked against Lynch the last time he was out. I know you were on him. The guy, he did his thing. He got it done. But the amount of hard contact that we had in that game, it was weak. It was weak contact. I wouldn't say it was hard contact, but the amount of contact that we had, it was tilting to watch. This is primed for the Blue Jays to absolutely smoke them. Man, I'm with you there. G. Risen, what are you doing with this game?
I think Toronto is going to be the chalkiest team on the slate, actually. So, they can put a righty up and down that lineup 1 through 8. It's going to be, Biggio pretty much is probably the only lefty that they're going to roll out there today. I can see him being all right-handed. I'll take the Blue Jays against any lefty, especially, you're bringing in a young kid. Granted, he had a nice start last game, but give me the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are going to smash. They'll probably be in an uppity kind of mood, like you said, going back to Toronto for the first time. Actually, maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe they're not happy they have to go back across the border and be in Toronto. I guess I'd probably rather stay over here in the U.S. anyways, but especially down in Florida, I guess I would have rather stayed down there. They had it made down there, but so we'll see. But I'm sure the fans are going to be hype. I think, the mojo will be there. So guys like Vladdy, and they're going to be pumped. So let's I got a feeling they're going to be pretty chalky, and I do expect them to put up some runs.
Hey man, I would much rather be in Toronto than in Buffalo, New York. I will say that.
That's true. I'll give you that. Buffalo is the armpit of America, if you ask me. I've been around the country, and that place is not too fun, especially close to that airport around there. I've been over there a few times in my day. But yeah, you know what I mean. I'd rather be down there in Florida than up there in Toronto. But hey, we'll see what happens. And plus, I wonder now with their paychecks, they got to pay them Canadian taxes now, or what? Or taxes change probably. So I'm sure that comes.
It's where you play, right? What state you play in, you got to pay taxes in that state. So you're right. It's probably better up there in Canada.
Yeah,
I guess no, that's just DFS winnings. That'd be better for us.
Oh, DFS winnings. Yeah, you don't pay taxes on DFS winnings.
Yeah, they're probably very, very sad. I agree with you guys. I think the Blue Jays phenomenal spot. If you're looking for run backs, Salvi has been hitting it really good of late, but that's against left-handed pitching. Same with Soler, who's obviously not with the Royals anymore. If you're looking for run backs here, I'm looking at Carlos Santana, Hunter Dozier. Those have been the guys that for this team that have hit right-handed pitching better of late. Ryan O'Hearn as a random one-off you'd be fine with, but I'm with you. I think the weather's going to be good for hitting. I think the Blue Jays, maybe touch double digits here, and they're going to be chalk. So you got to figure out how to get a little bit different. And we talked about it at the start of the show, guys. Pitching. Let's get different with pitching, and then we can stack this game up and not worry about the chalk so much. That's definitely one way to go. Let's go down to the Yankees. Marlins, G. Risen, I'll keep it with you. What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, I'm not really interested in bats from really either side here, but like I said, I'm interested in Italian, so I'm not I'm not looking at any Marlins. That lineup looks pretty weak, like we said, even without Marte and Duvall. But the Yankees are interesting. I think, I guess we could get Gallo in the lineup. I'm not sure if Rizzo will be in there or not. I haven't seen if they put out
confirmed. So it's Torres, Gallo, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Sanchez, Odor, and Wade. 1
That
through
sounds
8.
like a damn softball team. Like those.
Yeah, I mean, JT Hayes, you're not playing Zach Thompson anymore, are you? I mean, maybe you weren't playing him, but
I mean, it's kind of, I have to be honest about this, right? I think obviously there's no questioning the power that Joey Gallo brings to this team. No questioning the outfield arm. No questioning Anthony Rizzo, right? They make the lineup better. They make the team a little better. But what's going to be their impact, right? It almost seems to me like this is a situation we saw with the Brooklyn Nets, where the middle of the season they trade for all these guys and they still end up falling short at the end of the year because I think their problems are elsewhere. So this is a lineup, this Yankee lineup, with a 27% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks on a 147 ISO in a bad park with the roof closed. So I honestly hope that the Yankees get a ton of ownership. No, I'm not interested in Zach Thompson, but I'm really not interested in the Yankees. Maybe Joey Gallo as a one-off. AP, you mentioned first base is loaded. You've got Vlad, you've got Votto, you've got Abreu, you've got a couple of other guys here in other spots. So I'm not all that interested in the Yankees here. And to be honest, I'm looking at this projected lineup for the Marlins, and I don't know, is Jazz Chisholm is projected to be back. Leading off with 2.9, I don't know. If I need some savings, I don't think he's a bad one-off, to be honest here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice lineup for the Yankees for sure. You get Gallo in the pinstripes. I mean, you got to think he's going to hit some bombs. Definitely could today. I'm kind of with you guys. The park, not a pitcher I like to attack. And sometimes in these spots, I mean, the other team, they're seeing what we're seeing. They see these studs coming to this team. They're a little bit more motivated, in my opinion. We saw that, I love the NBA reference because those first games against the Nets, the other teams were playing like it was a championship game. They wanted to, it looked like they were motivated, like they were playing the champion. So obviously the Nets fell short, and that could definitely be the case for the Yankees. Who knows? If Jazz Chisholm's back 2.9, second base, I would have a little bit of interest, I guess, with him. I think I still have more. I'm with you guys on Talion, Jameson Talion, playing him instead and hoping that this game kind of, is a not one with a lot of fireworks. Let's move on. JT Hayes, I'll keep it with you. We got the Red Sox and the Rays in another game in the Dome. Roof is closed. What are you doing with this spot?
Yeah, 15-game slate, and I can't play them all. I ordinarily like to pick on Josh Fleming, but this Tampa Bay bullpen is for real. And, they've been for real for a couple of years now. And we talked about park factors. G. Risen talked about it. So, individually, there's a lot of pieces here that I love, right? These are two very good lineups, very talented lineups. I think I'd have more interest in the Tampa Bay side than I would than the Boston side, of course. You've got Martin Perez. But then again, Tampa Bay, before the Nelson Cruz trade, and even since the trade, 27% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to use Martin Perez, but I think if anything, I would pick off maybe a couple of one-offs here. The problem is, of course, you've got Arozarena leading off at 4.7 and then Cruz in the 2-hole at 5.7. So team's pretty priced up. So not a ton of interest here, maybe some one-offs or some mini stacks like I was talking. If I was doing a 3-3-2, maybe try and get, a couple from this Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, when you look at the Rays, their price, if they're really highly correlated to the Blue Jays prices, and I'd much rather play the Blue Jays. So, G. Risen, what about you though? I mean, are you looking at either side here? Are you looking at the Rays and maybe attacking Perez? What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, just like JT said, 15-game slate. I can't really say that I'm looking at really either side here. I'm definitely not looking to attack Tampa and that bullpen like JT said. I just don't think either spot's really a blow-up spot. I mean, both teams obviously have good lineups up and down, but yeah, I just think there's other spots here we can attack.
Oh, the chat. I mean, all right. So, come on, guys. We all know I suck at pronouncing names. It's not what I do. This guy, I said the name right, then I said it wrong, and then I said it right. Guys, just
I say
eat me up in chat.
I say
I
Cucho.
know.
Everybody rips on me, and I mean, I know. And then, my own guy was with, I called him Shoop, and, I got Holden telling me Scope, it's like,
I do know that one, though.
These guys, first of all, shame on them for not understanding that, AP, you're right. And the guy actually went to the courthouse in between the time that you said his name the first time and the second time to change the pronunciation. So don't worry about that.
I mean, look, we did the PGA show earlier. We got Xander. Xander is leading the tournament right now. So, I mean, it's just when we pronounce the names the way they're supposed to be pronounced, that's how we get winners. And so, yeah, I'm with you.
Chat should be focused on taking notes so they can say it correctly too.
Yeah, exactly. Where were we at? G Rising. So you said you were stacking up the Boston side, right? Full Boston stack.
No, I'm not really going there. I think there's other spots that are a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I'm not going there, but I couldn't argue with you if you wanted to. I mean, I think there's other spots to go to, and generally Tampa's not a place I like to attack. And two, like we mentioned, especially with Tampa's bullpen.
For me, so yeah, I'm not stacking this game up. I always, I never have a problem with some of these Rays bats though as one-offs. Like if you land on one of them as a one-off, or maybe a secondary stack, they just have so much power. I've never have any issues with that. I'm most likely going to end up fading this game too. I haven't been playing the Boston bats much at all, and I'm not going to play them here. I think we have better spots. So I'm with you guys. JT Hayes, take us into the Reds and Mets game. We got, honestly, Sonny Gray, and then we get Carrasco back, right?
Yeah, so Carrasco is back for the first time. I think he may have pitched an inning or two in spring training. Been a long time since he's been on the mound. Looks like he's going to be limited to maybe 3 or 4 innings here. And after that, you get a Mets bullpen that just hasn't been very good at all. And this Cincinnati team has been, led by Joey Votto and absolutely on fire. It's the park that I hate here. It's a humidor park. It's not bad weather, but the wind is blowing in. Looks like a 14-mile-per-hour wind blowing in. So that's going to keep me off of a full stack here for the Reds. I do like looking at guys like Votto. Winker seems a little bit too cheap 4-4 in this matchup. And then Sonny Gray just hasn't been really good. It hasn't been really consistent all year long. And you look at what the Mets are doing. I was surprised when I pulled up their metrics over the last couple of weeks. 18% strikeout rate, a 135 weighted runs creation plus, and a 225 ISO. And we saw Pete Alonso hit a ball almost into the upper deck yesterday. So I think I like Alonso here a little bit as a one-off. And other than that, it's kind of it on this game for me.
I kind of like that call. I have not, we talk about first base. It's going to be, well, I don't know. I mean, we haven't got to, so you would play Pete Alonso over like Joey Votto? Is that what you're saying? Or
so in multi-entry, I'm not going to have 100% Joey Votto, right? If I'm playing one lineup, Pete Alonso is not going to be my first baseman, right? My first baseman is probably going to be Vlad Guerrero, right? I think that's the way that I would approach that. So, but if you're playing multiple lineups, then I think Pete Alonso has just as good a shot as Votto or Gallo to get you to 4 or 5x of his salary.
Yeah, I like that. Man, it just seems like anytime baseball, I'm more of a 1 to 3 lineup type of guy. And the other night I was kind of kicking myself too, because could easily have Votto in there, and I had exposure to him, but in that build, I didn't have him, and I spent up, and the dude just absolutely went off, obviously. So, if you're new to MLB DFS, Votto's just been on fire. Obviously, the best overall first baseman play today. There's no secret there. G Ryzen, what are you doing with the Reds and Mets tonight? Should we just let him wait until he realizes this? G Ryzen, we can't hear you, Bob.
I'm muted. I was muted. So, I'm going to go to chat real quick because they're giving me shit about giving Buffalo crap. But hey, don't be so damn sensitive, man. And anyway, I live in the second armpit of America. There's two of them. I live in the close to Detroit, so I don't even want to hear it. Who gives a shit? But anyway, and all you Buffalo fans couldn't hit the dislike anyway, because like the other guy said, you're all drunk anyway by now. So
three people that have internet in Buffalo.
Right. So, hey, but this Cincinnati Mets game, I actually think is interesting from a side where to stack Cincinnati, because Carlos Carrasco is probably going to have a pretty short leash, and then we're going to get into that terrible Mets bullpen. So I do like I like the lefties here. As we were talking about Votto, the dude's just absolutely on fire. So I do like some Reds here. I think that you'll get them pretty low owned. I do like the spot. I did see the only thing that somewhat worries me. It looks like there's a pretty strong wind blowing in. I'm going to double check that if that's the case. That may pull me off it a little bit. I'm seeing some indications it might be like 10 to 15 mile an hour winds blowing in. So if that's the case, like I said, I might peel off that. But I do like the Reds on paper here against Carrasco in that bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this ballparkpal.com. No affiliation to us, but it seems like it's been a very cool resource to use. They're giving a bump to home runs here. At least they were, and they still are. So that's kind of interesting. And, that has me tagging at least two guys here, Jesse Winker and Joey Votto. Both guys have just been absolutely on fire, lights out. I got them tagged as possible core plays tonight. So I think they got plenty of power. I'm not too worried unless that the wind was directly coming in. That's something that I look at closer to lock. So we got a little bit more time there. So I'm with you guys kind of, I like the red side a little bit more here. JT Hayes, let's go over to, your Braves. They're taking on the Brewers, which has been a team that I have been on of late, and they're hitting the ball very well right now. But what's going to go down here are the Braves and Tukey. Are they going to be able to get it done tonight?
Yeah, and that's the thing that has me really almost completely uninterested in Tukey. A couple of things here. One is how hot this Milwaukee team has been. And then in addition to that, they now get, a good little hitter in Eduardo Escobar right there in the middle of that lineup. Historically, Tukey struggled against lefties. Historically, he struggled with walks. And over the course of these couple of games, since he's come back up to the major leagues, he's got a 29% strikeout rate and only a 4% walk rate. And I have to believe that those numbers are going to go down just a little bit in one direction and up in the other once he starts seeing some of these lineups that get to see a little bit more video on him. But he's been good. He's 6.9 on DraftKings, and I think if you're multi-entering, having him in some lineups is fine. But I do have some interest here. Like I said, it's 91 degrees right now in Atlanta. It's been steamy all week long. This is a park where when it gets hot, the ball has a tendency to fly out. It's a light breeze blowing out to left field. I'll actually be at this game, so I have no desire to stack it up. But I do like some pieces on the Milwaukee side. I think that the Braves bullpen still isn't exactly the best. They've been much better of late. But, man, this team for Milwaukee, 28 runs in their last 3 games, and I can't ignore that. Yes, pitching here is going to be better, much better than they faced in Pittsburgh. But I have some interest in guys like Tellez, maybe Escobar, and Colton Wong as perhaps one-offs or a mini stack.
Yeah, I like that. G Ryzen, what are you doing with this spot with the Brewers against the Braves?
Yeah, I'm on the side of more on the pitching side here, but if you want to look at maybe a couple one-offs, Rowdy Tellez has been absolutely on fire. He's hitting like 500 the last 2 weeks, got 3 or 4 homers. I don't mind him as a lefty right-up matchup against Toussaint. So I don't mind that at all. That'd probably be about it. I'm really not looking at any kind of bats here. Like I said, I just like the pitching.
Yeah, again, if you're fading Votto, Tellez, another first baseman that is very cheap, 2.6. He gets the left versus right matchup if that's your thing. And this team's hot too. You could also go with a guy like Narvaez, or how do you say Omar? I'm just going to call him Omar. He's he's very patient. This guy, like every at bat I watch of his, it's like it takes forever. Very, very patient hitter. I wouldn't mind someone like that against someone like Tukey. I'm kind of in agreements with you guys. It's probably like a 1 or 2 lineup night for me. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting to the Brewers. It's painful though, because I've been stacking them up, but I don't know if I like the matchup. Maybe if we get more wins, and I do like the comment about the hot weather. Balls should fly, but man, Burns, Tukey, it does feel like a better pitching environment here. So I'm most likely with you guys.
What's that?
I said I'm most likely with you guys on here. Probably avoiding it.
I have to add one thing. The more that I look at Tukey's numbers and what he's been historically. And I just talked about it with Daniel Lynch, right? These guys throw great games, and then all of a sudden they fall off a cliff, and it's unexpected. I don't know that's going to happen with Tukey tonight, but the pitcher he's been his last 2 starts is so much different than the pitcher that he's been every other time he's come up. And he's done this before. He had a great game, I think it was against the Yankees last year or the year before. Next game out, he got absolutely destroyed. Look, I hope that it doesn't happen, but as an analyst, with what I see these guys do, it would not surprise me at all if the Brewers put up some runs here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, man, he's just faced the Padres, he's just faced the Phillies, and he shut them down. So if he shuts down a hot Brewers team, then the kid's looking really good. Very good. G Rising. Let's go on to the Mariners and the Rangers. I assume that this is going to be a game we maybe skip over, but maybe not. Talk to me about this game.
Yeah, I think we should skip right on by. I mean, both pitchers are in play. They got the humidor there in Texas, as JT has mentioned a few times in the past. So, I'm not on the bats. I mean, if anything, if I had to choose something, I'd maybe look at some of the Seattle side. But I think there's so many other spots here to attack. That's this one here is just nothing for me.
You're not gonna. I mean, before I give my comments, JT Hayes, kick it over to you, because I did start to see something that I kind of like, but man, it's just not a great park here.
No, it's not a great park. I like Gilbert. I like Gilbert quite a bit here against this Texas lineup. Like I mentioned, with Joey Gallo before the trade, a 118 ISO over the last couple of weeks against right-handed pitching to go along with a 27% strikeout rate. Colby Allard has been bad this year. I think there's been a couple of games where he's been okay. So I think this is a situation where if you trust the park is going to limit damage here, sure, at 5-1, don't mind taking a couple of shots on him. I would not go overboard on Colby Allard. But I have some interest in this Mariners lineup. I don't care about the park. They play in a pretty crappy park themselves in T-Mobile, the Humidor Park. So it's not much of a difference for them. And yes, they strike out, but they've also got a 193 isolated power rating against left-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. I would stay away from guys like Torrens, a couple of other guys here if you're trying to get overweight on particular players, just because they're starting to do a good baseball managerial job and mix and match these guys within the game. So you'll see some pinch hit risk here. But Haniger, France, Kyle Seager, even Abraham Toro, a guy like Tom Murphy, Dylan Moore hit a grand slam the other night. Team is playing well, and in a division matchup that I think they can exploit, I think the Mariners bats are pretty interesting here at very, very low ownership.
Yeah, I haven't done a positional breakdown yet, but I've been looking at Abraham Toro. He's just been hitting the lights out, third base, fairly cheap too, and then Tom Murphy as well. So kind of down there in the order. I feel like two guys that if you want a secondary stack, I don't hate the Mariners here. Those would be the guys that I'm looking at. And the other thing too is Kyle Seager, third base only on DK as well. So should help to lower. I mean, none of these guys are going to be high owned at all. I mean, they're all going to be very, very low. So if you need some salary relief, Abraham Toro would be my guy. JT Hayes, let's keep it with you. Let's go to the Guardians and the White Sox.
Yeah. So, well, before we get there, what did you see in this game that you were going to tell us about?
I mean, just, attacking Allard and that this Mariners team has been hitting the ball a little bit better. Kyle Seager, lefty versus lefty. He actually, it's a fine matchup for him. I still like Toro with the price discount there. Tom Murphy and up and down. I mean, it's your comments, though, that kind of take me off. Like even a secondary stack is how they have been managing in the game, too. I think that brings up some risk because a guy like Torrance actually against left-handed pitching, he pops. If you change it to right-handed pitching, he doesn't pop. So that's going to be a guy that definitely has some risk there.
Flip side there is if they put up a bunch of runs, you don't have to necessarily worry about that as much, right?
Yep.
You've got a good shot there. On to Cleveland and the White Sox. Man, I can't get interested in any of the Cleveland bats. But I definitely have interest in the White Sox here against JC Mejia. You've got Cesar Hernandez making his debut. A couple of interesting lefty bats here. Gavin Sheets, don't know if he's still getting pinch hit for, but the fact that he's outfield eligible on DraftKings is nice. Yoan Moncada, even Goodwin and Garcia down at the bottom there. Cleveland bullpen, they're just obviously mailing it in for next year.
Yeah, we'll move it along too with some of these games. For me on this spot, I love the White Sox, but I've been watching them of late, and they haven't, unless I missed. That series against the Royals, man, they were not hitting the ball good. They've cooled off, so I'm going to be off them here. G. Risen, what are you doing with this game?
I actually like the White Sox, as JT was saying. He has just been awful. He's given up like 21 earned runs his last 16 innings. 3 home runs last time out against the Rays. And I think Cesar Hernandez is going to look for a little revenge today against his former team. I think he had to move his shit across the hallway. So I could assume he's going to have some motivation to show his old teammates up tonight. So I do like the White Sox.
I mean, man,
a lot of power.
He can't be any worse than these Royals pitchers that just faced this team that absolutely shut down this White Sox team, right?
Hey, you got day by day, man. I don't look at what happened yesterday. Today's a new day. I think the matchups are there. If you get caught up too much in who did what yesterday and today, you'd just be chasing all the good, chasing all the plays from yesterday. And obviously,
wait, G-Rod, are you the streaks don't matter guy?
No, I believe in personal streaks, yes, but I mean, what you're saying is like, hey, a team scored a bunch of runs in a few days, like the Tigers scored 17 runs and then they scored that. I mean, I'm not going to chase those runs. I just like the matchup. It doesn't matter to me what they did yesterday or the day before that. I mean, yes, if they're hot, that definitely takes into play, but I just look at the matchup here and Mejia's awful. I just think the White Sox, you added some new pieces. I think the teams that added new bats and new pieces, I mean, they're going to have some motivation. I mean, like I said the other day when in one of my podcasts we were talking, I said, hey, I play a lot of competitive softball. And, when some of the times we had so many dudes playing, that we didn't even know, and you'd see the guy come up that could just hit a 600.
All right, G. Rising, we got like 5 games. This is not story time, G. Rising.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, you get excited.
Right, G. Rising, talk to us about Twins, Cardinals. We get Griffin Jacks up tonight. Barrios is traded to Toronto, so he will not be getting the start. What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, obviously, as the day went on here, that obviously changed with Barrios going. But I mean, how can you not like the Cardinals against that Twins bullpen at this point? Griffin Jacks he's terrible. The rest of that Twins bullpen is terrible. You're going to get a Cardinals team that they should just smash the Twins. So I really like the Cardinals here tonight. Up and down the lineup, actually. I think you can go almost all the way down, even to Bader. I don't mind him at all. So not interested in any Twins, but yes, I'm definitely interested in some Cardinals.
I mean, yeah, the Twins bats have been kind of responding too. I mean, if you just look at the game logs, they've had some absolute battles. JT Hayes, what are you doing with this spot?
Yeah, I love the Cardinals here. Ordinarily, I don't like to stack in this park, but guess what? The Detroit Tigers put up 17 runs against the Twins, didn't even hit a home run. So, looking good to me.
And they won against a team who hit 7 homers.
That's right.
I mean, that's
all right, JT. Take us into the A's and Angels game.
Yeah, it's interesting here because, like I said, Bassett is one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Think it's a great spot for him. Heard G. Risen talk about Patrick Sandoval's last game when he had 13 strikeouts, and it just makes me want to attack him. So I'm going to have some Oakland A's mini stacks here. I think Sandoval is pitching over his head quite a bit, and I think the A's are not going to be owned tonight. So I won't have any Sandoval, but I will have some of the Oakland A's.
Yeah, no problem with that. G. Risen.
Yeah, I like both pitchers in this game. That you take out Ohtani in that Angel lineup, it's pretty weak. I do like Bassett. You know, Bassett's a guy that you guys have kind of talked me into as we've been on here. So probably going to add some Bassett to my player pool, but I'm not really a fan of any of the bats here, actually.
All right, G. Risen. We got Dodgers with a 5.3 implied run total against Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks. What are you doing in this spot?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to be one of my favorites plays today. I mean, obviously they got one of the higher team totals. Actually, with 15 games, I only see 2 teams with over 5 team total, which is kind of odd, especially in today's day. But I do like the Dodgers here. You know, Gallen, he can obviously he's a K pitcher. He can strikeouts. He's got the strikeouts are there. But I just think this Dodger lineup is just so powerful, so potent. We'll see what they roll out there today. I don't know. I don't think Trey Turner will be in that lineup, but we're going to see. I mean, there's talk of Corey Seager being back. I mean, that's like a damn all-star team over there. That's just incredible to me. I think those guys just all got to be on cloud 9 thinking that they got a legit shot to repeat here. So, but yeah, I like the Dodgers tonight.
I mean, their worst bat's going to be what? Cody Bellinger, right? I mean, pretty much.
I mean, the way he's been hitting, yes. I mean, it could definitely be Cody Bellinger. But, you know, I'm interested to see, I mean, what are the Dodgers going to do? They're going to have Turner at second, Trey Turner, that is, and Corey Seager at short. I mean, that's going to be kind of interesting. I don't know what they're going to do. Just the rich got richer there, and it's going to be the Dodgers are just set to repeat here. I think that was a great trade.
Yeah. JT Hayes.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, I have some interest in Gonzalon at that price point, 7.9. Definitely we'll have some of him in multi-entry. And then, yeah, maybe some Dodgers mini stacks. The Arizona bullpen is just not good.
Yeah. JT Hayes, take us into the Astros Giants game. 3.8 for Houston implied run total, 4.3 for the Giants. So, Vegas doesn't think there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this game.
No, and I'm surprised that Houston's run total, to be honest, with the slate leading, second on the slate, 215 ISO against right-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. Gausman's been up and down lately, not been very good. In particular, up and down since the substance crackdown. I'm interested in perhaps one-offs on both sides here. Definitely not full stacking this game. It looks like it's going to be cool in San Francisco, but Kyle Tucker at that price point is a guy that stands out to me. And then perhaps, I don't know, it's so hard to play any of these Giants guys just because of the mix and match that Gabe Kapler does. So a little bit more interest on the Houston side.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's a easy fade for me. I'm definitely off this game. I could see it as a low contrarian stack either side. You could make arguments for. I'm going to be off of it. G. Risen, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of either bats. I mean, generally, though, I do look at some of these Giants bats like Flores and Ruff when they're going against the lefty. But, I mean, really, that's probably – I mean, if you wanted a low price one-off, I mean, Darren Ruff, I mean, I wouldn't argue with you with that. But, I mean, you're just hunting for the homer there. But nothing for me today.
Yeah, very good. We got one game left, and then we got to pick a winner for the ticket, and then we got to give our plays of the day. We got the Rockies, Padres, G. Rising, keep it with you. The Padres kind of let me down yesterday. They were part of my stack with the Brewers, and I did not get the production that I needed out of them. They got a 5.1 run implied run total here against John Gray. What are you doing with this spot?
Yeah, it's tough. The Padres let me down yesterday as well, but I generally don't like attacking John Gray, actually. So, maybe some one-offs. I can't see myself landing on like Tatis Jr. I just think, if I go with some of the higher priced pitchers, that's going to make it tough for me to get, a guy like that. But any day I can play him, obviously, you gotta consider it. There's nobody on the Rockies I'd even consider, but maybe a couple of these Padres as one-offs. I mean, you can't really argue, but I think there's some other spots here that I like. It looks like the wind's blown in a little bit, maybe 8 to 10 miles an hour in. You're going to get that marine fog that usually rolls in late. So, not really a fan there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a fan either. Easy fade from me. JT Hayes, what about you?
Yeah, not a ton of interest here. Initially, I had some interest in Ryan Weathers, but on this slate, I just don't think you need to go there.
All right, JT Hayes, let's so we got our guy Rahul. He's giving out a ticket. I should have been keeping an eye on contests. Time has just been flying by. Hopefully it's still available, but go ahead and do we have a winner? You got someone you want to pick to win that ticket?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of competition here, but a guy in chat who's helping out some new members, passing along some information, has the RPS avatar as his avatar for YouTube. That's something that we're encouraging members to do. And it's a good start. It's a good way to reward someone for doing that right away, right out of the gate. Brian Palinkas gets the ticket tonight.
All right, very good. He should. Who should he send a message to? I'm trying to think. Hoop usually JSU. Okay. Get into Discord. Shoot a message to JSU, and we will make sure that gets done. All right, guys. Let's get on to. I know Hoop always does a good job at keeping an eye on. Hoop would not be satisfied with these like numbers. I'm telling you that right now. Hoop would just say no plays of the day. And he would tell Simon to end the show. Maybe we can make a quick push to 200. I'm a bit softer than Hoop, though. I'm a softie, and I'm fine with getting into the plays of the day because I have faith that the chat will get us over 200 likes by the time that we're done giving out the plays of the day. G Rising, what's your play of the day called anyway?
We've called it all kinds of things, but up and smoke.
What is it today?
Yellow play. We've called all kinds of stuff. I can't keep track anymore. The up and smoke play. Yep. There you go.
All right. G Rising is going to give us his up and smoke play of the day.
The up and smoke play of the day for me today is going to be. I'm going to roll with Akil Baddoo hitting leadoff for the Tigers against Matt Harvey. I think I'm going to use him as some one-off, more so as a full Tiger stack. So I'm just going to use Akil as a one-off, and I think I'm going to have him in quite a few of my lineups. So I'm going to go with my hometown kid.
I have no problems with that at all. JT Hayes, what's your play of the day called? I always forget.
It happens to be the Eiffel Tower play of the day.
The Eiffel Tower, that's right. Yeah.
Brought to you as always by Air France. France is in the air.
All right, JT Hayes.
Couple of spots I talked about, Toronto and Philly, still love them. But man, the more I look at this under-owned Mariner team, the more excited I get against Colby Allard. And remember, the Rangers are trying to limit the innings of these guys. So even if Colby Allard is pitching somewhat decently, one, he's going to give up a couple of runs anyway. Two, he's not going to go very long. So bold call. Mariners are going to put up 8+ runs here, and it's going to be led by Mitch Haniger.
Mitch, oh yeah, I like that play of the day. That's a good one. For me, it is gonna be I got to go with Jesse Winker for the Reds, and you could even pair it with Joey Votto. Those guys are hitting it out of the park like crazy right now. I'm gonna continue to ride that hot streak. Yeah, you guys got any final thoughts, on tonight's slate? Is there anything, one thing I started thinking about is the air quality here where I'm at is just terrible today. Do we have any concerns with any of these baseball games with weather, air quality, anything like that today?
No weather concerns, not concerned about air quality. Again, I'll just mention one more time in that Atlanta game, it's going to be hot, and the heat here is wearing on you. One thing I will bring up, looks like Brian Palinkas has a family obligation. He's headed out of town. So DFS Little Monster, hit up JSU in Discord and take that ticket so that it does not go to waste tonight.
Hey, good catch, JT Hayes. G. Risen, any final thoughts tonight?
Should be a fun slate tonight. Hopefully we see the RPS logos up at the top. It seems like every night we're having a Twitter party, so like to see that continue. But, like I said, I got a few stacks I like with the White Sox, the Dodgers. I'm even going to throw some Cincinnati in there, mix up some pitchers, and roll it out there and see what we can do.
All right, guys, we got to get on out of here. We got the premium show coming up. AP, we had G. Risen, we got JT Hayes. Simon, get us out of here.